Well, it's day 9, and today's rule is watch those terms. And when I say terms, I mean the clauses, the agreement inside of your proposal, um, and watching how projects go, so that you can improve on what I'll call the rules of the game. When you're putting together a proposal, when you're putting together an agreement, you're specifying the rules. These are the things that we have to abide by. Um, I have to say here that I'm not a lawyer, so I can't vouch for the legal validity of any of the ideas in this video, but I can say that these terms that I'm going to show you here soon really served me well. I have 3 that I'd like to review in this video. Okay, so the first one is a list of items not included. This was actually born out of my own pain of, we were too broad in what we said we were going to do. And over the years discovered certain things that should really never be included in a project. So I did web development at my agency, and we would have things like these legacy calculators or these apps that were kind of hidden in their old website that we didn't know about. And so what we'd do is every time we had this really painful situation where we went out of scope, we had a problem, I would add them to this items not included list so that in the future, things went a lot smoother and there weren't as many surprises. We could actually stay on budget. One of the key principles here is that you're doing your projects, you're working through client requests, and then you're going back as you have those painful points, and you're asking, where can we improve? And so again, with this principle, you're just adding items that are not included that are just kind of standard. We don't ever include this unless otherwise specified. All right, next one is having a project end date. So imagine somewhere in your agreement where you say something like, the project end date for this contract is this date. Or you could say 200 days from the date of signing. That way you don't have to dynamically put in a date. I always like to just have things be relative versus absolute. So from a certain event like signing. And you could also do something like any additional hours will be billed hourly past the project end date. And what's great about this is, I don't know that I had this agreement in my proposals all the time, but I don't know that I ever really used it. I look at agreements like a bat. So I'm holding this bat and someone's coming towards me and I say, look, I don't want to hit you, but you need to stay away from my wife, right? That's the idea of some of these clauses. Like I could be somewhat flexible, but now I have kind of the standard procedure. So after 200 days, you have to go hourly. Well, I could give them an additional 30 days, and all of a sudden there's a pressure implied so that I can actually close the project down. Without something like this, well, you have nothing. It's just he said, she said, right? So that's the project end date. And then my final term or clause for your consideration would be a reactivation clause. As you know, in the agency world, it's very common for our prospects or customers to get super busy and want to pause the project. But the reality is this causes huge strain on an agency. You have resources dedicated. You made decisions based on the projects that you have. And so a reactivation clause is, again, somewhere in your agreement, you say, you maybe describe the pain that agencies can go through when things are paused. And you say, we're happy to pause your project, but we do have a 10% or a $5,000 reactivation fee, right? So you have that in there. And what's great about this clause is, again, you don't even have to use it, but it still serves a purpose. So, for an example, maybe I have a customer that says they want to put it on pause, and I bring this up. We would need to, do our reactivation clause were we to pause. And they say, okay, well, that's good to know. Let me go back to my team. And then lo and behold, they come back and they say, you know what? We figured out how to not pause, right? So I didn't get paid which I don't want to take their money for that anyways, but it still had an effect because now the agreement that we signed is saying this, and they have figured out how to not pause things on their end. All right, well, those are 3 clauses that have really served me well. Tomorrow, our last video, I'm going to talk about continuously improving and having a feedback loop so that your proposals are getting better and better.